Hey guys, it's Garth. How's it going? Today we're actually going to get a bit of editing done in our Reaper tutorial. So let's go back to where we were up to at the end of the last one.
One item.
So we have a project here that hasn't been saved yet. We have a track that has one item on it, which is Sean's recording.
20 items.
And another track which is blank. Now the first thing I wanted to show you is how context sensitive Reaper is. So as I move to a track,
20 items.
I'm basically selecting that track. That is the thing that has focus at the moment. So if I hit delete now, or FN backspace,
One track removed.
I've removed that track.
One item. One item.
And now we only have the one track there. And if I hit Command Z,
Undo remove tracks.
I will
One item. 20 items.
have that track back. Now, if I'm on the track with Sean's item,
One item.
and I wanted to get rid of that item, I could put focus on the item with the command and left or right arrow.
One WAV.
So if I hit delete now,
One item removed.
we've removed that
20
item.
items. One 0 items.
So that track now has no items on it. I'm going to hit Command Z again to bring back that item.
Undo delete items. 20 one item.
And we have that item back. The command and arrow keys, if we had multiple items on this track, I mean, at the moment we only have the one, but if we had 3, 4, 5, whatever. So if I cut a word out of this item, for example, it will turn it from one item into two items, either side of the word that I cut out. You can then navigate between the items on the track with command and left and right arrows. So I just want to get focused back on this item.
One WAV.
Okay, so once again, if I hit delete now, it'll be the item that's deleted rather than the track. If I move up and down between the tracks, I will then be deleting the track because that's the last thing that was touched. In a lot of places in Reaper, it's important to remember that context because that's where the action will be performed. Now, in the previous episode, I kept referring to the edit cursor as the insertion point. That's a hangover from Amadeus Pro where it was called insertion point. In Reaper, we typically call it an edit cursor and play cursor. So edit and play cursors. So we're at the beginning of the item and we want to get rid of the beginning part of this file. So I'll show you one way of doing a time selection.
Play.
Hello. And well, excuse me. Hello.
Pause.
And I've paused there. I'm just going to scrub back now. So I'm going to hold down the left arrow. Now, what you heard there was the word hello, very slowly and backwards as I scrubbed from the end of the word back to the beginning. So if you use your arrow keys, you'll be moving your edit cursor along the track and it will play what you're moving across. So let me just go forward over that word again.
Play. Stop. Play.
And welcome.
Stop. Play.
Hello. And welcome.
Stop.
Okay, so I've moved back to the beginning.
Play.
Hello.
Stop.
Move back a little bit further. So I want to cut everything from that point back to the beginning of the file. And there's a handy keyboard shortcut to do that, and that's Shift Home.
Set selection start.
Now, we just heard it say set selection start. So this is actually a custom action that links together a number of actions. So we've set an endpoint where we are, and we've moved back to the beginning of the project, and we've set a start point. So at the moment, we have what's called a time selection that encompasses the first part of this track, right up to the part where we want to actually start. And the time selection is the last thing that was active. So if I hit delete, we're going to delete that time selection. Remembering on the laptop, we were talking FN backspace.
Contents of time selection removed.
And we can hear a voiceover report, and the contents of time selection removed. And if I hit play now,
Play.
Hello. And welcome to this guide to Reaper from Garth.
and I'll stop again. So we've now cut off the beginning part of this track using a time selection. The important thing to remember with the time selection is that it encompasses all tracks on the project. So if I had like 5 or 6 tracks here, any number really, and I went through and used a time selection to cut a part out, I'd be cutting that section out of every track. And say you're working on a podcast and you want to cut a whole big section out, that would be a great way to do it. The selection is made on the timeline of the project rather than any of the particular items within the project, if that makes sense. So Shift Home will select from your current edit cursor to the beginning of the project, and Shift End will select from the edit cursor to the end of the project. You can then hit delete to remove the content. Now let's make another edit in here.
Play.
Hello. And welcome to this guide to Reaper from Garth.
Pause.
Okay, Garth. There's another deliberate mistake Mr. Priest has made for us here. So at the moment...
Play.
Garth. Now
Stop.
So I'm going to back up a little bit. So I'll scrub back again. There we go. Go forward. You can hear where it starts there. Let me just check. I'll press the play.
Play.
Garth.
Stop.
Okay. I'm going to turn off the feedback there. So remember Command
SPRA
F12.
configuration window. Unchecked. Report transport state. Unchecked. Report transport state. OK. Press OK. Unsaved project.
Let's try that again.
Garth.
Okay, so we're at the beginning of where Sean says Garth. So I'll hit the left bracket.
Set selection start.
And we're setting selection start.
Garth.
And there's the end of the word Garth. I'm just going to scrub forward. Okay, so I've moved my cursor to the beginning of the word Garth, where he says it correctly, and I'm going to hit the end selection, so the right bracket.
Set selection end.
So if I hit play now,
Garth.
we're just playing the word Garth. If I turn on repeat, so Command R.
Repeat on.
Garth. Garth. Garth.
Okay, so we know what we've got selected at the moment. Now, before we go any further, I wanted to jump into preferences and show you a quick preference that's relevant here.
Reaper preferences window. Table. Row 8 of 37. Editing behavior.
And I just typed ED to jump down to editing behavior.
Checked. Move edit cursor to start of time selection on time selection change.
That's the one there. Move edit cursor to start of time selection when time selection changes. And I have that ticked, and I'd recommend you do the same. Another thing I'll show you while we're in preferences is in playback. So let me just jump back up there.
Seeking. Playback.
Playback, there we are.
Checked. Stop/repeat playback at end of project. Checked. Stop playback at end of loop if repeat is disabled.
Stop playback at end of loop if repeat is disabled. If you have this ticked, when you hit the end of a loop or a time selection, playback will stop there. Otherwise, it'll just keep on playing. So let's jump out of here for now, though.
Unsaved project.
So what this tells us and what we observed is that our edit cursor is currently at the beginning of the selection Garth. So I created an endpoint for the selection, so it moved my edit cursor to the beginning, and when I hit play, it plays that time selection. Now let's say I actually want to hear how it will sound when that has been removed. So I'm going to move my edit cursor back before this time selection because I want to hear from earlier. So I'm actually going to jump back by a beat.
51%.
Which is Command page up, move forward by beat with Command page down, and move forward and back by measure with page up and page down. So I've moved back a little bit now, and I want to preview how that's going to sound when I make the deletion. You can preview with Option
Welcome
Space.
to this guide to Reaper from Garth. Now, from what I hear, Reaper is a great...
Okay, that'll do. That'll do just fine for today, okay? The important thing to remember with previewing with the Option spacebar is that you need to get your edit cursor before the time selection so that it can skip the time selection. If you're already in the time selection, it won't work properly for you. Okay, so I'm just going to hit delete.
Contents of time selection removed.
I'm going to use the command and arrows to look at our items on the track now.
1 Sean.wav 0%. 2 Sean.wav B2 67%.
So we now have 2 items on the track. We've created an extra item by cutting a section out. So we have the bit before the bit I cut out and the bit after. And I've selected item 2.
Garth. Now, from what I hear, Reaper is a great little program, very powerful, and doesn't need a huge computer to run. But let's...
Okay, so I've just paused again, and I'm going to jump back with Command page up.
Beat 647%. Beat 5.
Huge computer to run. But...
Okay, at the end of the word run is where we want to stop, isn't it?
Computer to run.
Okay, so I've paused there. I'll hit a time selection again.
Set selection start.
But let's...
And I paused again. I'll back up with the scrub gesture, so left arrow.
But let's not kid...
There we go. Alrighty. Now let's make a deliberately bad edit here so I can show you how to adjust your time selection.
Let's not kid... Let's not kid... Let's not kid...
So we're in the middle of the word but, so we're going to set our endpoint there.
Set selection end.
And if we preview this now, so once again, I need to jump back a little bit before the preview.
6%.
doesn't need a huge computer to run. Let's not kid ourselves.
Okay, and that's not real good. So to adjust our time selection, we have a couple of keystrokes. Once again, you're still using your left and right brackets. On Windows, if you're wanting to adjust the left, so the beginning of your time selection, you use your Control key. And if you're wanting to adjust the right edge of your time selection, you use the Alt key. So it's around the right way. The left for the left, the right for the right modifier. On the Mac, I've adjusted the keystrokes a little bit here to make them make a little bit more mnemonic sense. I'll turn on keyboard shortcut and we'll go over them.
Shortcut help on.
So Option with the left bracket,
Time selection. Nudge left edge left.
nudge left edge left. So holding down the Option key and using the bracket will adjust our left edge of our time selection. If I hit the Option key with the right bracket,
Time selection. Nudge left edge right.
nudge the left edge right. So we're looking at the beginning, the left edge of our time selection, and we can move that left or right with our brackets. So earlier or later in the project. And if I hold down Command,
Time selection. Nudge right edge left.
nudge right edge left, so we're looking at the end, the right edge of our time selection, and we can nudge it left or right
Time selection. Nudge right edge right.
with, once again, the brackets, left and right brackets. So on Windows, Control left and right brackets to nudge the beginning of your time selection. On the Mac, Option with left and right brackets to nudge the beginning of your time selection. And on Windows, Alt left and right brackets to nudge the end of your time selection, and Command left and right brackets on the Mac. We've cut off the beginning of the word but here. So we want to basically nudge our end earlier in the project. So we want to do this.
Time selection. Nudge right edge left.
Nudge the right edge further to the left. Okay? So I'll turn off keyboard shortcut now.
Shortcut help off.
So what I'm going to do here is start previewing the audio with the Option space and then start making adjustments. Every time I hit a keystroke, it will start playback again, previewing the time selection. Let me start that now for you.
Doesn't need a huge computer to run. Let's not kid ourselves. The real reason Garth loves its computer to run. Let's not kid our computer to run. Let's not kid 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 ourselves. The real reason Garth.
Okay, I'm going to stop there. So you can hear each time I pressed the Command left bracket, it previewed the last little bit before the time selection. Now, it's nudging it along. Now, whenever you're nudging a time selection or an item length or anything like that, it's all determined by how zoomed into the project you are. So the closer you're zoomed in, the more granular, the smaller the moves will be. You could hear then, each time I hit the Command left bracket, it moved by quite a small amount. If I zoomed out of the project, each time I used the command, I would have nudged further along. The rate at which you scrub is also determined by your zoom factor. So if I was zoomed right out from the project, when I scrubbed along, I could be up to, normal speed. And if I zoomed right in, I'd have to scrub for ages just to hear one syllable. Okay. Now, to zoom in and out, there's a couple of ways. The default mapping is on the number pad.
View. Zoom out horizontal. View. Zoom in horizontal.
So numpad plus to zoom in and numpad minus to zoom out. If you're on a laptop and you don't have access to a number pad, you can also use Option Shift equals and dash. So the keys up between the backspace and the 0. Option Shift equals to zoom in and Option Shift dash to zoom out. And of course on Windows that's Alt and Shift with those same keys. So let me just show you how that works with respect to this time selection that we have here. So I'll turn
Shortcut
it
help off.
I'm going to zoom right out.
40, 30, 27.908 pixels second. 23.2, 19, 16, 13.400, 11.216 pixels second.
So 11 pixels a second. We're a fair way out of the project. And you note there you get good feedback about your zoom level. So once again, I'm going to start previewing this audio.
But,
Oops. My preview didn't work because I had adjusted my time selection, so my edit cursor is now at the beginning of the time selection. So once again, I need to move back a little bit so I can preview properly. And Alt space.
computer to run. Let's not kid our computer to run. Let's not kid ourselves. The real
So just
reason
with
Garth
2
loves it so much
clicks,
is
I've moved
because
the
it's
whole
called
word
free
of but
computer
now.
to run. Computer to run. But let's not computer to run. But let's not computer to run. But let's not kid computer to run.
Okay.
But let's not kid.
And you can see there that having changed the zoom level, each keystroke is now having a bigger impact on how far I move. And if I actually do some scrubbing, I'll show you that as well.
Need a huge computer to run.
Okay, so I'm actually scrubbing at pretty much real time there now. If I zoom in,
207.300.
so we're, 20 times closer zoomed in now. And yeah, we're barely hearing anything there as we move over.
But
okay, it took us that long to get over the word but. But once again, let's move back a little bit.
40%. B4.
I'll zoom out a bit.
869.444.
I like it. We'll preview this.
program very powerful and doesn't need a huge computer to run. But let's not kid ourselves. The real reason Garth
And that will do. Let's just leave the edit there for now, since we're not creating War and Peace here.
Contents of time selection removed.
Okay. Hit the delete key and contents of time selection removed. So if we once again have a look at this project,
2 Sean.wavb, 3 Sean.wavb,
we now have 3 items on the track. If I move
66%.
on and off the track,
2 0 items. 1 Sean, 3 items.
so now 1 Sean, 3 items. So track 1 with 3 items on it. And because I've moved off and on the track, I now have the track selected. So if I hit delete,
1 track removed. 1 0 items.
all those items have gone and that track's gone. I'll undo that.
Remove tracks.
If I start navigating through the items on the track, so command arrow,
2 0 items. 1 Sean, 3 items. 3 Sean.wav, 2 Sean. 1 Sean.wav,
And I hit
1
delete
0%.
now.
1 item removed. 2 0 1 Sean, 2 items.
we have 2 items rather than 3.
Undo delete items.
And I'll undo that. And one little handy thing, so I can start playing back now and still jump through the items, and the play and edit cursor will be moved to the beginning of each item as I do it. So I'll show you what I mean.
Hello. And
1 Sean.wav.
welcome to this
2
Garth.
Sean.wav,
Now,
267%.
from what I hear,
3
But let's not
Sean.wav,
kid
66%.
Okay, so a quick and easy way to jump through your project to all your edit points. And for today, that's all we're going to really look at. So let's quickly cover those. I'm going to put on the keyboard shortcut.
Shortcut help on.
Because your key map may be a little bit different to mine. Let's talk about the actual keystrokes, but the actions that they're assigned to. So zoom in and out with plus and minus on your number pad, or option shift equals and dash.
View, zoom in horizontal. View, zoom out horizontal.
Okay. We have time selection start and end
Time selection, set start point. Time selection, set end point.
associated to the brackets. We can nudge the time selection. So option left and right,
Time selection, nudge left edge left. Time selection, nudge left edge right.
and command left and right brackets.
Time selection, nudge right edge left. Time selection, nudge right edge right.
Okay. And the other command we looked at quickly was shift home and shift end.
Custom, select from cursor to start of project. Custom, select from cursor to end of project.
We can also move through our project with item navigation, so command with the left and right arrows.
Item navigation, selected move to next item. Item navigation, selected move to previous item.
We also looked at previewing with option space,
Transport, play, skip time selection.
okay, and moving by beats and bars with the page up and down keys, and command page up and page down.
Move edit cursor forward 1 beat. Move edit cursor forward 1 measure. Move edit cursor back 1 beat. Move edit cursor back 1 measure.
Now I've actually set up my project so that a measure or a bar is 1 minute long and a beat is 2 seconds long. There isn't a native way of moving by minutes and seconds with a keyboard shortcut like that. You can jump to a certain location with Command J.
View, jump to time window.
Okay. So if you're going to be editing audio where the musical time signature is not relevant, you can set up your project so that measures are 1 minute long and beats are a couple of seconds long, and that makes navigating the audio a lot quicker. And we can have a quick look at that when we look at our project settings. Once again, feel free to contact me if you have any questions. Garth@audio.pizza. Thanks so much for listening, and bye for now.